Good Saturday morning. This is your host, Eric, of the Marengo Man Cave, and here with my partner, Matthew. Good morning, Matthew.
Morning.
You listen to WXMR 94.3. You should get used to our theme music by now. You know when we're coming on for a little bit of nonsense in the morning. Tried to explain what our show was to some people this last week out at the Marengo Music Fest.
Excellent.
Hard to describe. A couple of idiots, microphones.
I'm still surprised they allow us to do this.
Yes, so we appreciate the opportunity and appreciate all our listeners out there. There's microphones
kicking your butt.
Yep. So, how you been?
Sunny.
Yeah, we missed you last week.
Yeah, I had the big college move in.
Yeah.
If it makes you feel any better, it was 94, 96 degrees, 90% humidity. That makes
Wasn't that a bad boys band in the
something like
late
that.
80s, early 90s?
Sure.
No? Okay.
Was it 98 degrees?
Oh, something.
I don't know how I know that.
Yeah, see, if you don't know the number, then it gives you the appearance that you weren't a big fan. Hey, before we get into it too much, just want to let everyone know that you're listening to 94.3
LP
Marengo, of course, and we're really happy that we have sponsors that support our radio station. And if I could get I'm just a mess today.
A little prep work, my friend.
A little prep work would have gone a long way.
A little prep work.
There it is. See, I'm shuffling papers. They can't see that on the radio.
It's bad radio.
But programming from Marengo Community Radio is made possible by a donation from Global Fun Center, 16-lane bowling alley and full-service restaurant. GlobalFunCenter.com, 568-2695.
Cat's out of the bag. We, A, no prep. B,
no prep. Yeah.
The reads are live.
Right, yes. Here we go. Yeah, we do live reads here. So, appreciate our sponsors. And
just for the record, this is what you get when you don't hire professionals.
Right.
As you're writing on your...
Yep, just writing down, making sure everybody knows I said that out loud. Got that on there.
Awesome.
No, but last week we had the show without you.
Yeah, how was the musical festival?
Music Fest was a great time. It was hot. It was hot, though. It was nice. We got a little shower in the middle of the day.
Hot tub or what?
Yeah, the nice reference.
Nice.
So, it was the heat coming off just the grass because of the sun and so forth.
Oh yeah, I was in the concrete jungle, dude, with the dormitory. So.
Oh yeah.
I can imagine that you were baking pretty good out there.
Mm-hmm. And but then we got a little shower come through, but it didn't last long at all, and it cooled off just a little bit, and then it heated back up.
Nice.
But the radio station, we had a tent there.
Awesome.
It happened to be next to the beer tent, which is convenient.
Not bad for
just saying,
Man Cave guys, right?
Yeah. So it was a nice time. Johnny Y and I did some announcing of bands throughout the day and had a good time. Jamie, I want to shout out to Jamie. He did a great job. We were live broadcasting from the Music Fest. So
I am looking forward to that. That's awesome that we can do that now.
Yeah. Well, I got some technical difficulties. I'm hearing a buzz in my headphones. Are you hearing it?
Yeah, I hear a buzz in my headphones. Hopefully that's not on there.
Yeah.
I go with it.
We'll roll with it. It sounds like mosquitoes buzzing.
So I made a determination that my daughter's officially, whether she likes it or not, going to make her be a cheerleader while she's at Winona State, because athletes and cheerleaders, for those of you that want to debate, the athletes get to move in obviously earlier than everybody else, and after moving her in, I don't want to deal with the crowds. I remember when I did it and had to move in, it is so much better to not have a crowded dorm that you're moving into. I mean, it's still a headache and a nightmare,
right?
But, I can't imagine trying to do that when everybody else was moving in.
Yeah, that is a nice benefit.
So it does sound. Now it sounds like crickets or mosquitoes in
here.
There.
So if you hear that, over the air, just imagine you're out at the campsite. You got some crickets chirping and some...
Ironically, the wife and I last night were trying to watch a movie, and we just rented it was free on demand or whatever, and we had all the windows open and the big screen doors open to the house, and all the locusts and the frogs and all that were... I mean, it's just... I don't even know if locusts... I think locust is the wrong word. What are those things? Between the crickets and the cicadas and the...
Right.
Just nature in general. I'm like, really? So I Jaworski'd it for my wife. She also looks at me. She goes, "Why'd you bring it up? I wasn't even hearing it."
Right. Right. Hey, for those of you who are new listeners to our show, to Jaworski something, we've clearly defined, as to point something out to somebody that was unaware, and that therefore they can't avoid knowing every time. So it's named after Ron Jaworski from the Booyah Network.
Yep.
Because that was the first person we did it with, but it could be done with anything. So it's
Deerdorf was
Right.
truly the first.
Right,
but
why didn't we call it Deerdorf?
I don't know. It just picked up with Jaworski. So
Yeah. So it's a fun game you can play.
it's not so fun if you're the one that's been Jaworski.
Right.
Because you obviously, like
Right.
a good example would be, just kind of going back retro here, is at the Blackhawks game, we're standing on the end. We had skybox seats. We're looking through the, we're in a box looking through the net. And so my wife goes, man, this would be really great if we weren't having to look through this net. And I hadn't noticed the net all night.
Yeah.
Now all I am is
Right.
notice is looking through the net.
If I have a hard time responding, it's because the only thing I hear is this buzzing.
Yours bad?
No, it's just,
Those fancy headphones you got.
probably.
You sure you got them on the left ear and the right ear?
No,
Maybe
that
that's
could be
your
my problem. I got them backwards. So
we made it through the college move successfully.
Good,
no
good.
tears. We ended up having to drive back earlier because the youngest son, the middle linebacker, had a football game Sunday morning.
Nice.
So I left Saturday evening with the three boys, and then her mom, my wife, stayed up there with her, and then drove back separately by
good
herself. So
mother-daughter time, right?
yeah, the bad news is I wasn't there to kind of
Right.
probably. I mean, well, she hasn't said anything, but I know this is going to come back to haunt me. And I did. So this is, let the record show that I'm giving you this information now, so that eventually, hopefully, you don't make the same mistake.
Sure.
I should have
Oh,
paid somebody.
Wait a second.
I should have paid somebody to take the picture of them with the last hug. My wife took a picture of all of us hugging the daughter before we left.
Right.
You
didn't get that.
And there's no picture of my wife hugging her daughter before she leaves. So she dropped her off at cheerleading practice, said goodbye, and left.
Yeah.
So I know that somehow is going to come back to be a sad thing that I
Two
don't
things.
have a
One, I'm not jumping in because, honestly, my son's a junior in high school. I haven't been through this, so I don't know what to say. I'd like to say, I know what you mean, but I have not been there, done that yet. And
Understood.
secondly, thing would be, just because you make a mistake doesn't mean I'm not going to go run blindly into the fire, follow right after going, oh, wait, didn't he tell me not to do that?
Yeah.
So
That's good, solid advice for any dad out there that has this pending for next year. Is make sure you get the picture of the last hug. I'm sure it hasn't reared its head yet, but I'm sure.
Right.
I just know it's going to be a.
Well, I told you that I was thinking about you guys because just like a week or so ago on Twitter, Jimmy Fallon I think they were tweeting about bad summer camp stories, but it seemed to apply to your situation. It was this. Supposedly his buddy was homesick, and so the parents both wrote letters. Mom's letter was 2 pages long, and Dad's letter just said, "Be a man."
Man up.
So I have a feeling that that's going to be me in a couple years when my son goes to college. That my wife's going to be exactly like yours, with the actually caring, considerate, showing emotion that you are going to miss your child, and I'm going to be, here's your stuff. Need help lifting it up into the dorm? All right.
Yeah, I think
Call when you need money.
I was talking to PK, about it before we came on air, and I was telling, just saying that I remember my parents, it was probably like a 2.5-hour affair from the moment we pulled on the campus until my dad was gone back in the car driving back home.
Yeah.
And it would have been less than that, but my mom at some point said, well, aren't we going to take him to lunch? And my dad, I think, went, okay, fine.
Okay.
And then somehow during the course of lunch, she wanted to go to the grocery store with me and get, like snacks and food and stuff like that for the room. But beyond that, I mean, it was literally carry everything upstairs. My dad plopped it down, said, wow, it's tiny in here. I think I got the Duggar side pat from him, on the back. And all right, good luck. And he was ready to go. So
nice.
There's no way I was getting away with that. With we even had my parents came up and all that type of stuff. And it was it was an ordeal. So, but the good news is a lot of with my 4 kids and my wife and my daughter were the only 2 that had seen the campus. So
yes, it was good to you guys to
Yeah.
explore.
So not only we moved her in, we toured the area of the city and the bluffs, and it's beautiful up there. I was telling you, oh my gosh, it's just crazy.
Yeah.
Makes you wonder why we live in flat.
Oh, we love this town.
Nothing.
We love Marengo and all of our listeners out there in it, as well as our listeners online, knowing that, You can listen on 94.3 FM. You could stream it from WXMR.org. There's a button you can stream our radio show over the internet, anywhere, anytime, right? And then on Spreaker.com, that's speaker with a R thrown in there, Spreaker, we actually most of the time record it so you can listen to it after the fact. I didn't get last week's recorded, which I feel bad because we had a new show host.
Really? You feel bad?
Yeah. No, not feel bad because of you. Certainly not showing my emotion towards you of missing you at all. So that would be weird.
I wanted to ask you, were you homesick when you went down to school?
Was I homesick?
Did you ever get homesick? I never was. I don't think there's been a time in my life where I've ever felt homesick that I can recall.
Yeah, I don't recall being homesick when I went to college.
She was definitely homesick. She didn't tell us.
Yeah.
But the boyfriend told us.
Yeah.
That, she was.
And now you've
homesick.
told everybody?
Yeah. We're loose here.
Yeah, that's what happens when your dad's a celebrity on the radio.
There's a circle of trust,
right?
I thought.
Yeah.
with the listeners.
You, me, and our 4 listeners are all,
So you can
consider
see, for everybody that doesn't have Apple or whatever, there's FaceTiming, which is basically just like Skype,
Right.
So there's a lot of FaceTiming going on.
Wait a second. Time out. Are you thinking that a demographic that listens to our show is of an age that you need to explain FaceTime?
Yes.
Okay, I just thought that's what I thought you were doing.
I thought it was obvious, the fact that I explained it. So anyway.
So you're thinking like retirement home where they have one radio station on the whole time
and
they
can't
don't have a
turn it
choice?
off.
Yeah, that's our listeners.
So do I need to explain Skype too? So anyways, it's video chatting, but I noticed that's been slowing down. Her attention span when we call her and we're FaceTiming or we're talking, her attention span is like a gnat. Now, in the first few days, you could see this massive, we were ready to get off the phone, and she kept extending the conversation.
Right.
Now, I could see a hint of frustration in the wife's voice the last few nights, at 10 o'clock at night.
She's ready to go.
Because you can see that the daughter's not focused, and she's talking with friends and blah, blah. Yeah, but that's what you really want,
I think
right?
I had a benefit because I had a good friend from high school. It wasn't you, so it wasn't as awesome.
You had more. Wait, are you saying you had more than one friend?
Yes, I did. And so,
how did you afford to pay
we were
both
roommates,
of us?
So we went down to the dorms. Pay cheaper than tuition. So
you didn't even realize what happened.
Yeah. So there's living in a triple, so a dorm room with 3 people, and
because that's always safe.
Right.
Odd numbers, so
odd
2
numbers
can gang up on one.
Right. Well, my buddy Biff, if you will, Sasquatch. Other nicknames apply, so he kind of counted as 2. But if you're listening, Biff, sorry. But since I already knew him, there wasn't that strangeness of, okay, now I've got somebody I have a roommate with that I don't know.
Sure.
So the third guy we didn't know. I had met him once before. I ended up being really good friends with him as well, so it all worked out. But at least you had a little bit of, somebody else to say, okay, let's go get something to eat, or let's go walk around and find out where, everything is. So I didn't have that.
Well, it is pretty cool. Like, I think I've told you this story, or partially I've told you this story, I think, or maybe I hadn't, how they have these new apps out that are like dating apps, but they're not dating apps. They're for finding roommates at all the different colleges. Yeah. So you sign up for these apps, kind of fill out a survey, they match you up. So she did that, picked out a roommate. I think I would be remiss to say that not as easy as it sounds, because they had talked and got along really well during the summer. My daughter moved in 3 days before or 4 days before her roommate moved in. Sure. Then there was like a little bit of this weirdness, awkwardness. They were both we kept trying to tell my daughter that, hey, you've kind of gotten over that new, I'm homesick, I'm alone, mom and dad aren't here,
right?
Trying to find out. So at first they were, I don't want to say they were button heads because that wasn't going on. They both, I think, just felt a little awkward, but now they're kind of catching their groove, which is really cool. And like we told her, you don't have to be best friends. You just want to have somebody that you can trust, someone that you can rely on.
Right.
But you don't have to be.
Yeah, it'd probably be better to have someone that you're not close friends with, because close friends, you have those ups and downs. And
so do you remember, was it like